touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Alrighty, greetings Sigma race fans. We come at you live here tonight from Daytona for the Sigma USA Trucks East Division season opener. And last week was the West Coast, so now it's the East Coast. Daytona opens up this 13 race stretch for the East Coast drivers tonight here, and 150 miles the distance for 60 laps. 41 drivers on the field, I believe, here tonight, and here is your starting lineup. Front row, you've got Jeffrey Gerald right there alongside the 96 of David Bird for Jesse Saturn Racing. Next row, you've got a double whammy with Mountain Dew entries, Ryan Little in the number 54 and John Hagan in the number 88. Behind that, you've got the 46 of Craig Popcris and the 28 of Jamie Horseman. Drew Clue and Jack Ross, John Underkoffler and Pedro Sales, Milano Grimmy and Snake Plissken, the Outlaw, looking to try and take some wins this season in the USA Trucks, Craig Bush and Ralph Oberstadt, followed by Cannon Gage and Wyatt Wilkinson. It's been a good start to the season for Wyatt already, a good run at the Cup race. And a few other opportunities he's had here tonight is his first truck race of the season. And you've got Tim Morse and Wesley Shaw, Mitchell Carter and Paul Valenzuela, Kyle Ottawa and Carlos Eduardo jumping into the truck for Tyler Aspinall Racing. Sarah Taylor and Brandon Butler II. Philip Purpura alongside Gannon Bird there. Sebastian Galloway Jr. with Guido Piano, one of your title winners in the USA Trucks back in 2022. Daniel Pauls Jr. with Daniil Bogdasarov. I'm probably butchered it, but Daniil Bogdars. Daniil B, at least for now, until I figure out the pronunciation there. Eli the Wolf and Zane Phoenix. Alex Sanvital and Alan Malcolm. Philip Manning and Andre Stefan. Andrew Moger and James Gunner, a last-minute entry here tonight. He claimed he comes back after a hiatus. Claims he wants to come back and try to prove it again. He's got what it takes to win these races. He had a great 2025 season and then disappeared there for a while. And so here he is tonight, number 32 for Tyler Aspinall Racing. Starting dead end on the field here, but Daytona, you can really make money just about anywhere you start here today. As they get rolling here tonight, 150 miles distance. This is kind of the appetizer course for Sigma Racing at Daytona this week. ARCA's going to have a unique track that's different. But other than ARCA having a different track this week, Trucks, Bridge to Cup, and Cup all tackling Daytona here this week. So we're trying to keep in touch with the actual NASCAR season as they're starting the 2026 campaign here at Daytona. And last week we started the series at Armory Digital Super Speedway. Back-to-back Super Speedways, kind of a wild card pair of weeks here, but someone's going to get the win no matter what. We're off and rolling here tonight, and it's the LFG number 16 of Jeffrey Gerald to the early lead. The Mountain Dew, the duo there, they're two different manufacturers. You got Toyota and Chevrolet. John Hagan kind of spicing it up this year with the Mountain Dew Baja Blast to try and differentiate himself from the 54 of Ryan Little. And this is kind of neat having the new 2015 model for this year. This is the first time the USA Trucks have jumped in this new model of truck. The most current model that they host in NASCAR Racing 2003. Although it's a whole decade old now, the 2015 model is the most current. So Ryan Little right there side by side with Jeffrey Gerald. I do feel like here we might see some difference in the racing action than what we saw at Armory Digital Super Speedway. More than likely going to be not as much rotating of the lead. It should more than likely be kind of, there might be some dominance, there might be some standout drivers that actually lead laps here today. It won't all be about the, you know, rotating conveyor belt like we've always seen at super speedway races. And there you have it, side by side. It looks like Jeffrey Gerald will lead that lap there, but Ryan Little right there in the mix. He's going to try to take the lead from the 16. 46, that is Craig Popkris. He's knocking on the door of trying to move in here. Look at that. You've got Underkoffler moving up through the field. He's in the top 10, maybe the top 5 here shortly. 3 wide for the lead. That's going to put Craig Popkris in a position to try and make a move for the lead here. Jeffrey Gerald blocking lines of traffic behind him. Our fastest lap ticker is kind of goofing up right now, so we'll just refer here to the fastest lap time on this guy here. Currently, fastest lap belongs to James Gunner, who started shotgun on the field here tonight. So, amazingly enough, James Gunner, last minute entry, fastest lap so far in the race. We'll see where he's climbed up to. Here we go, John Underkoffler in the top 3 now, fighting for the lead up to second there. Here he comes, knocking on the door. The 16 leads the way. Jeffrey Gerald has held the lead pretty steady here. But what's it going to be once the 07 comes knocking down the door? Gap to second, and then you got in third place, that is the 84 of Craig Bush. Underkoffler looking to try and take his lead in his first ever career start here. He's gonna lead, it looks like, this lap perhaps. Or the 84 might have an answer for him here. It's gonna be tied at the start-finish line. Underkoffler leads his first career lap here in SIGMA USA Trucks. Quick lap led, and now kind of back into the reserve mode. Settle in there, run the outside line until you can find an opening to get back on the inside line. Now moving through the field, you got the 5 of Cannon Gage, the 15 of Tim Morse. And Tim Morse to the top spot here, but he's going to have to defend the 8. That is Mitchell Carter looking to take the lead here as well. The entire field pretty much separated by about 2 seconds like we've seen in the last Super Speedway race. 1.7 seconds from first to last. There you have it, 3 wide for second now. The Outlaw gang kind of working together here. Philip Perpura and Tim Morse within the same zip code there. They're just gonna have to wait for the likes of Snake Plissken and possibly Philip Manning to get up there as well. We have not seen the Outlaw gang dominate the trucks like they did in ARCA. And the number has grown by 1 this season as they have now recruited Philip Manning to join the team of Outlaws. Now, the Outlaw gang, they do not race for the same team. They do not race on the same manufacturer, but they're a group of friends. I guess you can kind of consider them like the Alabama gang back in the day, where you had like the Allison gang, Allison family, and a few other folks that were part of the Alabama gang. That is what the Outlaw gang is very reminiscent of. And there you have Snake Plissken moving through the field as well. To the top of the leaderboard might be Philip Manning here. Philip Manning, number 14, top spot right now. Is he going to lead the lap, or is he going to have to defend? Trucks are racing very hard here. Look at that Ford coming to the front. That is the 00 of Jack Ross. Philip Manning leads his first career lap. Laps led are going to be spread out pretty thickly here tonight, as you'll have many people swap the lead here. But look at John Underkoffler back up through the field here. He got to the inside line, and he's moving back to the front. The 07, Joe Diffie, pickup truck man, number 07. tribute truck there. He's driving it very, very quickly around this racetrack and showing his muscle here today on the high banks of Daytona. 10 laps in, 50 laps to go. 3 wide all across the field here. This is getting interesting, folks. Guido Piano, top of the board. He is a super speedway king. Guido Piano won his championship by winning the race at Talladega back in 2022. So Guido Piano, no stranger to the high banks drafting racetracks such as this one. Moving to the top spot, he led that lap, and it's going to be Underkoffler looking to try and take the lead again here. 32, that kind of watermelon-colored entry. That's James Gunner. Very ARCA-esque moment where we had a last-minute driver accept the call, and here he is actually looking to try and take the lead. Underkoffler leads his second lap there. But James Gunner right there knocking on the door. 3 wide now, the 9 of Alan Malcolm makes it. Malcolm was the runner-up for the 2025 championship. Best of the East and the West combined. Alan Malcolm just came up short, had a very consistent, steady season, and trying to pick up where he left off last year with a good run here tonight. Ryan Little back to the top here. Daniel B. Bogdasarov. I think that's how you pronounce that. It should be Bogdasarov for the number 19 there. Daniel Bogdasarov. If I say it 10 times fast, I should be able to remember. So Bogdasarov in the 19. Their own owner-driver situation there in the number 19. Bogdasarov, Evernham Racing. Having a good running here so far. How about the 95 of Sebastian Galloway Jr. Had a steady run in the Bridge to Cup race. ARCA race, my bad. Not Bridge to Cup. Or was it? It was Bridge to Cup. Yeah, he ended up with a top 10 finish in Bridge to Cup last week. So returning this week with a truck start for him, and of course later in the week, Bridge to Cup. Up at the top 10 right here, he's right behind Zane Phoenix in the number 27 Rolex entry there. Snake Plissken moving through the field. He had a bit of a struggle in his Bridge to Cup start just last week, so maybe trying to make up for it here tonight in the trucks. You know, honestly, it would be shocking not to have Snake Plissken up at the front of the field somewhere. And here we have him running top of the board. He's going to lead a lap here tonight. It's been a struggle for him in the trucks. Usually, the ARCA races were impossible to beat this guy. He was lights out, one of the fastest cars in ARCA, and had, for some reason, not been able to convert that success into the trucks last year. Well, graduate out of ARCA, and he's sticking around in trucks, and he moved up to Bridge to Cup. We'll see if history repeats itself, or perhaps he's getting these trucks figured out. Gannonberg trying to take the top spot. That is the Texaco Haviland number 59 Dodge Ram for TSI Motorsports. And he's going to lead this lap right here over Snake Plissken. Definitely get to see some shuffling up front here. A lot of moving through and to the back and to the front. Daytona has not disappointed yet in our SIGMA Racing Series ventures to this racetrack. Usually we will get at least one big one, but it's been pretty relaxed last couple of years. It's far from the yesteryear of SIGMA Racing where you would only have like 10 cars, 10 trucks finish the race in these Daytona races. No, that is not the case anymore. We have usually a field of about 30 cars surviving the carnage. So very, very unique circumstances to see races at Daytona, Armory Digital, Talladega, the sorts, not turn into a big wreck fest. Still, the whole field separated by less than 2 seconds here tonight. Now jumping to the top spot, that is the number 3 of Ralph Oberstadt. He has good drafting partner in the 39 of Wyatt Wilkinson. John Hagan, it's a whole freight train of Chevys in the front there. Chevys all along the inside, about 3-4 deep. Here goes Wyatt Wilkinson. Actually, Wyatt's in a Dodge, my bad. There was 3 of the 4 were all Chevys up front there. Wyatt's going to take the lead here, but for how long? Is John Hagan coming down on the low side? He is quite the wheelman when it comes to these trucks. Doesn't matter what track. He's always a wheelman in a truck. Been able to secure lots of wins through his career on the truck side of things. He's only been able to join SIGMA and get 1 career win in SIGMA racing, and that was in a truck, however. Three wide for second. Also moving up into the top 5, top 10 there. You got the 0-2 of Drew Clue. The Outlaw gang spread throughout the field once again. It looks like as far back as 38th, you've got Tim Morse deep in the field. Philip Perper up in the top 15. Snake Plissken may be as far back as about 20th at the moment. It's crazy, we're 20 laps in and no wrecks yet. Everyone really keeping it clean. 3 wide all the way from first to nearly last, which is just pure insanity once you get into these drafting tracks. Look at that, moving back through the field. John Underkoffler up in the top 5. Taking the lead, it's Brandon Butler, the second, rolling around the racetrack here. Gets Philip Perpera right behind him. Perpera looking low. Is Perpera going to be able to lead this lap? Not quite, as Butler led the lap. Here comes Underkoffler to try and take a 3rd lap lead here tonight. Looking stout in the number 07. Wasn't able to hold the lead very long there as the 28 of Jamie Horseman came blowing by. Still a lot of racing to be done here. We're not quite halfway yet, but this race is going to go by in a flash here tonight. So keep your eyes peeled and do not let your guard down. These drivers have minimal time to get the job done. that addressed so that we don't have to worry about it. So far, fastest lap in the race belongs to Guido Piano. Pardon the minor glitch up there as I had to adjust our heads-up display to get that rolling again. But as we're closing in towards halfway here tonight, really has not been any established race winner here tonight. The one that is very promising though, John Underkoffler, finds a way to drop back and continues to move back up to the front. So do not discredit the ability to fall back and jump to the front as quickly as he can. I think he's simply testing the waters, trying to figure out what it'll feel like to charge through the field. And he's getting that feel for later in the race here tonight once it gets down to about 5 laps to go. One thing you do have to factor in, there will be at least one round of green flag pit stops here tonight if we do not get a caution, that is. So if things stay green like it's going, there's going to be at least green flag pit stops here. The way they're racing clean and avoiding creating a caution so far. 3-truck breakaway at the front. That's impressive, actually. The fact that they're able to get away from the pack like that. Leading the way, it is the 10 of Alex Sanvital, the 15 of Tim Morrison, the 08 for Al Bunch Incorporated, Guido Piano. Al Bunch Incorporated was so stoked to get Guido Piano, the original inaugural USA Trucks champion back in 2022. Was a very exciting first ever season of this USA Trucks campaign to see a international driver win it all. Guido Piano from Italy had claimed the title pretty quickly in his career and was able to climb up into Cup for a while. Wasn't able to transfer that over to success in the Cup side of things. So now has kind of relegated himself back into the USA Truck Series as it stands. But that's where he's comfortable. That's where he knows how to get the wins. The truck just fits him better. Sometimes you got drivers like that. You look at, say, Justin Allgaier, who had an opportunity to move up the ladder, got into the Cup Series, but has actually made himself a better home as an Xfinity champion and full-time Xfinity driver over the last, probably nearly a decade at this point. Because last time you really tried to make a Cup, full-time Cup venture would have been about 2014, I'd say. So that is kind of our Guido Piano here over real-life comparisons with Justin Allgaier. Back to the top of the leaderboard, that is the 81 of Snake Plissken. The Outlaw Gang testing the waters again, trying to work their way around and lead some laps here tonight. So far, lap-led counter is going to be wild one. So you've got 3 laps led by Snake, 3 laps led by Alex Sanvital, a whole bunch of 1-lap led leaders, but the one that's led the most laps here tonight, Jeffrey Gerald, with 6 laps led. A very, very stout performance from Jeffrey Gerald as we're right now at halfway in tonight's 150-mile event. Here comes a good cast of characters back on the inside line here. David Bird drops low on the 8 of Mitchell Carter. Here comes the 39 of Wyatt Wilkinson. leading that lap was David Bird with the Weather Channel, number 96 for Jesse Saturn Racing. John Underkoffler back to the top spot. Gets a little bit of a drafting partner in the 32 of James Gunner. Interesting strategy from Underkoffler. He takes the lead and loses it on the back stretch almost each time right now. It almost feels like he's playing a game, trying to test the waters and figure out what that truck is capable of doing. Hitting in dirty air, getting to the top of the leaderboard. Obviously, getting to the lead is not as valuable at lap 31 as it is valuable coming towards lap 59. So, impressive that he can make it, you know, through the conveyor belt here and still find his way up to the lead in very pivotal moments here today. There is a big handful of drivers that we have not seen lead a lap here tonight, so. And the crazy part is all these drivers that are testing the waters like that, they're putting themselves in danger every lap that they drop to the back. All it takes is one driver to make a mistake and then you're collected up in a wreck not of your doing. So it's great to experiment and do your research and development, but at the same time you do not want to risk losing the race here today on a wreck caused by someone else. Wow, we're almost 4 wide there, but they decided better on that one. Good call not to get 4 wide. Andre Stefan trying to jump to the top spot now. That's Brandon Butler in the 23. Brandon Butler's truck venture is a limited time schedule this year. He wanted to run at least Daytona and a couple other tracks on the calendar, so at least a good race to start the season out, and he's having a good showing here tonight in the number 23 Chevrolet. No retirements here tonight. Everyone's still running through 35 laps, and we're 4 wide for 4th place at the moment. Could be danger. Now it's 4 wide for about 5th on back. Pit stops, green flag pit stops. So part of the reason they got 4 wide there was to try and exit onto pit road. So as is customary here in Sigma, if we do not get gathered back up after the green flag pit stops, we will throw a competition caution to get them all stacked back up. But if the officials deem that the trucks are within a close enough gap in the draft of each other, it may not get called. So it's a gut decision basically on the officials at the race any given week. If pit stops result in a pretty tight draft field still, then we will ignore it. It's going to be pretty spread out though, because we're going to have about 3 groups of trucks pitting here. Whereas it, you know, if it was just 1 group or 2 groups, it'd be easier to get caught back up. The danger zone though is these trucks coming around and now coming off pit road is a wreck waiting to happen with your drivers not yet pitted. John Hagan credited with leading that last lap there. Well, a few more drivers staying out. It's going to be the lone ducks of John Hagan and Kyle Ottawa, your last two trucks yet to pit. Danger zone. Hopefully we do not get a caution here with them all stacked up with the lap traffic on the inside. John Hagan might be running out of fuel here as he's coasting around turn 3. Looking for an opening to get down low, but there is traffic coming right underneath him there. He's going to have to be careful not to get in the mix with the faster trucks. He's coming down pit road, so push it a little too hard for the 88 team. I think they're running in on fumes here barely. Cycle around your leader being Craig Popkris here. Wow, the 92 is going to be right there in front of the draft, but he is going to get swallowed whole as he's slower getting up to speed. The group in the draft is going to blow by him there. Might have been a little bit of contact even. Saw some sparks fly. We're going to go ahead and throw competition caution to stack him back up, as there's about 3 groups of trucks separated throughout the field here. SIGMA Racing competition caution here to get them stacked back up. So just a quick, super quick caution here, as no one else needs to pit. It should be, we'll be back green within the next 2 laps here. Get things rolling to the conclusion of tonight's 150-mile Daytona event. Alrighty, lights are off on the pace truck and leading them to the restart here tonight with 18 laps to go. It's going to be 29 of Brandon Butler leading the way, followed by Andre Stefan, Alan Malcolm, Sarah Taylor, Craig Popkris, Philip Manning, Jack Ross, Craig Bush, Wesley Shaw, Eli the Wolf, Andrew Moger, Daniil Bogdasarov, James Gunner, Guido Piano, Sebastian Galloway Jr., Mitchell Carter, Kyle Ottawa, Gannon Bird, Jeffrey Gerald, Wyatt Wilkinson, Ralph Oberstadt, Alex Sanvital, Philip Purpura, Pedro Sales, John Hagen, John Underkoffler, Daniel Pauls Jr., Drew Clue, David Bird, Tim Morse, Cannon Gage, Carlos Eduardo, Paul Valenzuela, Ryan Little, Zane Phoenix, Jamie Horseman, Snake Pliskin, and Milano Grimm. 38 Trucks started the race here tonight. 38 Trucks still alive for the win. One caution, competition caution for us here tonight, and we're going to be back green here in a very short moment. After last week, where we had all 4 of the races were first-time Sigma winners, not just in their division, but first overall win in all of Sigma racing for all 4 drivers, as they had never won in any of the ladder series or for the fact of the Cup series that they're in. So hopefully maybe that trend can stay alive this week too. We'll see. A lot of new drivers at the front of the field with potential to get their first ever career win in Sigma. Sarah Taylor would definitely be one of them. Brandon Butler's never won in any form of Sigma racing. And then you've got the likes of Philip Manning, his rookie campaign here tonight, starting his rookie season, that is. Craig Popkris has never won. Wesley Shaw, this is his first ever start. Craig Bush, I think, has been snake bitten many times without getting a win to his name. So definitely a lot of opportunities here to see that new first-time winner in the series, not just the truck series. Alan Malcolm, however, trying to take the lead here right now. He won a handful of races last year en route to his second place in the points finish. And he loses the lead pretty quickly here to Craig Popkris. That's the 46 of Popkris, my bad. Craig Bush is in the, there's another car, another truck, the 84, not the 46. Wow, Jack Ross jumped to the top spot now. Jack Ross is a definite wild card driver. He could be reckless in destroying your day, or running up front just as he is right there with reckless abandon. Wesley Shaw, 3 wide for the lead. I think that's Shaw that led that lap. They gave the lead lap to Jack Ross, amazingly enough. That looked too close to call. If that had to be a photo finish here tonight, I would have to look back at the camera reel to make sure that that 52 did or didn't finish third. Andrew Moger to the top spot. Moger has plenty of success here at Daytona. He actually won the truck race last year here at Daytona. So could he potentially be eyeballing another opportunity to win here tonight, leading the way with 15 laps to go now. 15 remaining. Sebastian Galloway Jr. right there in second, and here comes Kyle Ottawa. Look, that inside line, you've got some heavy hitters trying to move back through the field here. Jeffrey Gerald from pole position here today. Ralph Oberstadt, who has basically made a name for himself through ARCA and a few other ventures here in the Sigma Racing Series. Philip Purpura and John Hagen down on the low side. John Hagen, one of the few full-time Cup drivers in this field here tonight. You also got Jack Ross, a full-time Cup driver. But apart from a couple drivers like that, really is not a whole lot of Cup full-time representatives here in this USA Trucks East Division. Ralph Overstat to the top spot. Ralph trying to make some uncharted starts in the Cup Series this year. Unfortunately did not qualify in the last race, so he's going to have to try again in the sprint qualifier this week, Thursday. SIGMA Cup, the SIGMA Daytona 500 is going to be on Friday the 13th, so hopefully it's not going to be a scary one. If you're superstitious about Friday the 13th, and we're racing on Friday the 13th, I mean, just be aware, you know, anything can happen. It's crazy stuff on Friday the 13th. Philip Purpura and Andrew Moger side by side down the backstretch. John Hagan on the low side, and even Daniel Pauls Jr. right there in the mix. But it's John Underkoffler working his way back through the field here. 13 laps to go as he just kind of biding his time right now until that moment presents itself to actually get the lead in the last couple laps. Look at Underkoffler looking to maybe try and go on the outside of the 99, but he's going to stay low. He's going to stay low and keep behind the 99 there. 3 wide for 4th place. Underkoffler and Hagan with the number 3 of Oberstadt on the high side. Daniel Paulus on the low side here. Moger doing a stellar job holding this lead. Look, he's going to try to block 3 lines of traffic at the front of the field here. If he is able to win 2 years in a row here at Daytona in the trucks, that would be impressive. Very hard to do it once, let alone twice in a row. Don't want to jinx him, obviously, but he's having a good run so far, and it shows that he's got the speed in that Volkswagen Passerac. Amarok, my bad. Not Pass. I don't know where the hell that name came from. The Amarok Volkswagen number 74 leading the way here tonight. And thanks for tuning in, folks, as it's getting down to the nitty-gritty here tonight. A lot of movement up and through the field here tonight. And now you've got the guy that's been back to front, front to back, back to front, back to the front again. Underkoffler side by side with the 74 as they drag race across the start-finish line. Give Underkoffler the lap lead there with just 10 laps to go now. And how about that? Tyler Aspinall Racing, he ended up with a truck win on the west side with Donovan Heist. Well, you look about 3-4 trucks deep there, and the inside line you've got Carlos Eduardo and Zane Phoenix, both for Tyler Aspinall Racing, moving towards the front here. Moger not giving an inch. He's going to try to fight on the outside of the 07 there. Underkoffler, he's going to take the advantage and go in there, but 3 wide now for the lead. The 96, David Bird quits drafting with the 07 there and brings him up to the lead now as things get all out of sorts with the draft. Carlos Eduardo, the 18, making a move to try and take the lead. Zane Phoenix as well, drafting with his teammate there. Do you cooperate with your teammates, or do you throw that out the window with 8 laps to go? So far, they're playing nice and working together. Oh, and the 27 gets cut off from his teammate there as Carlos Eduardo and the 96 of David Bird are duking it out for the lead. And out of nowhere, the 51 of Grimm comes storming to the front here. Milano Grimm, 3 wide for the lead. Wow, this is getting good, folks. I have not seen this much 3 wide racing at the lead here at Daytona in a long time, so we are in for a treat of a finish here as things are getting down to the end of this one. No big wrecks yet. Still plenty of time for a wreck to happen, but we are nearing the end of the 150-mile dash here tonight in the trucks. Milano Grimm leads another lap there in the number 51 Sprite Chevrolet. Snake Plissken on the move as well. Inside line getting a little bit de-established there. But when do you take the lead? That is the time and time again biggest question. You want to be up front with 5 to go, risking getting shuffled to the back, or do you want to wait and make your moves until about 2 laps to go and be about 10th in the field to move through? You don't want to be that sit and duck leading the race when everyone else is charging with the draft. And once you take the lead, you kind of lose the draft because there's no one else in front of you to break the clean air. So, yeah, the big key is not to be a sitting duck within the closing stint of the race. A few of these drivers have kind of made their bed, getting stuck up high. Being in the middle group, though, that's still a very valid chance at winning this race. If you're on the outside line with about 5 to go, you better be leading on the outside line or else your race is about toast. So Milano Grimm and the likes behind Milano there might very well be out of the mix here tonight. Meanwhile, that mid group, all they need is a opening to materialize. And there's a chance that one of those openings could present itself and you just move down low 1 spot. Then you're back on the conveyor belt. You're back to where you can make it through the field on the rotation of the conveyor belt, fighting for the win. As you see there, deep in the field, about inside, about 8 back, there's a big gap there that's opened up. And taking that opening was the 5 of Cannon Gage. So Cannon Gage gets that open spot. About 5 laps to go here. Was that potentially a winning move of the night to get that low on this long of a stretch left in the race? There's a couple more openings opening up, but you have to execute quick. Currently leading the way, it's Craig Bush in the 84, followed by the 8 of Mitchell Carter and the 29 of Eli the Wolf. Eli finally got his first Sigma career win in the Cup Series just a couple nights ago, taking home the win at Armory Digital Super Speedway. Is he hungry, like the Wolf, to try and get another win, though? We'll see. Sarah Taylor leads the way, but now we've got lap traffic in the mix here. This could totally upset the apple cart with 4 laps to go. They're going to catch the 54 in a bad place on the track here. He's going to go high and cut off the line that's coming there. The outside line really nowhere to go once lap traffic falls into place there. Mitchell Carter, John Hagan trying to push each other to the lead here. We're down to 3 laps to go. How wild would that be if Guido Piano was able to find another way to win another super speedway race? He's coming through the field here. He's kind of been able to benefit from the shortcomings of a couple other trucks out there here tonight. And with just a handful of laps left to go, he's in the top 5. If we do get a caution, green-white checkers will be in place unless they take the white flag, that is. Wow, James Gunner, the number 32 late minute entry. He's in the mix now as well for the win here tonight. Just a couple laps left to go. Next time by, they'll see the white flag waving. we get a caution, then green-white checkers it will be. But I don't see much indication here that we're going to get a caution, as they're going to try to race their way to the finish now. Leading the way, it's Guido Piano over James Gunner, Jamie Horseman, Andre Stefan, and Tim Morse. Too wide at the front here, fighting for the lead. The unsponsored, pretty much unexpected entry, the 32 of James Gunner. Top of the board right now with just one more lap to go. Time for a Sigma white flag. One more lap of racing here tonight. Tim Morse in the Portland Sea Dogs. Dodge Ram there takes the lead away from him though. And there's no friends now. Everyone for everyone, all for all. It's a knockout, drag-out brawl to the finish. Craig Popgris takes the lead, but the 52, Wesley Shaw, is going to be hungry. The Outlaw Gang all up front, represented here in the closing laps. Philip Purpura now with a shot in third. But he gets cut up high. That's going to bring Kyle Ottawa on the inside line, making a move here. As they come across start-finish line for the last time here today, it's going to be the 46 of Craig Popgris for his first ever Sigma career win. We're keeping that trend alive here today and this week, folks, at least tonight. Craig Popgris has had 0 wins, and he's raced in a couple different series. ARCA, Trucks, and no wins to his name up until tonight. Popgris Grand Prix and Craig Popgris are happy here tonight. They definitely earned this one. Successful start to the season, and a few other drivers behind him just kicking the dirt at what could have been. That was exciting, folks. I am glad that we got through that one without too much chaos. And I feel like Daytona is going to be full of great racing here this week between the trucks, Bridge to Cup, and Cup. Of course, the ARCA Series not racing here at Daytona. Very unique circumstances that they are not, actually. But start of the season here for the USA Trucks Eastern Division. And we'll see how far we can drag this first-time winners club. 5 races in, 5 different winners, 5 new winners, that is. 5 never-before race winners getting the checkered flag here to start the 2026 campaign. Eventually it'll catch up to where there won't be as many winless drivers on track, and your win ratio will start leaning more towards the drivers that have been in the series for quite a while. But no matter what, it is an exciting stat and very unique that we've had that happen already. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for more exciting stats and details such as that all year long.
Do you have any ignition problems?
Well, apart from your top 10 there, your remaining order here tonight after that looks something like this if you keep looking at the ticker above. Brandon Butler, the second, comes home 11th. James Gunner coming home 12th. Last minute entry, great finish, top 15 for him. Jack Ross, the wild one. Andre Stefan, the quiet one. And Ralph Oberstadt, 15th. Then you had John Hagan, the truck man, 16th. Mitchell Carter coming home 17th. 18th was Daniel Paulus Jr. the long, hardcore, grizzled veteran of the Truck Series, Eli the Wolf, in 19th. Cannon Gage, top 20. Just missing out on a top 20 finish, John Underkoffler coming home in 21st. Sarah Taylor, 22nd. Philip Manning, 23rd. Craig Bush, the other Craig, 24th. Drew Clue, followed by Zane Phoenix. And his teammate, Carlos Eduardo, they stuck together even at the finish there. Pedro Sales in the number 0 comes home 28th. Andrew Moger, 29th. Man, from leading at one point to dropping all the way back to 29th. Jeffrey Gerald, pole position. It's good for 30th here tonight, unfortunately. Alan Malcolm, David Bird, Gannon Bird. No familial relation there. Totally coincidental. Milano Grimm. Alex Sanvital, deep in the field here. That's a tough start to the season for Sanvital. Daniel Bogdasarov, Paul Valenzuela, Ryan Little, and that is all of your finishing results here tonight at Daytona. So that is a wrap here tonight, folks. Thank you very kindly for tuning in to the broadcast. We will have more racing action all week long. I am done with my iRacing broadcast, so we will be able to put in our heart and soul to the SIGMA Racing series going forward here. Do have a couple paint schemes to make up, especially for the Seahawks fans out there that had requested some special Seahawks schemes. So have an ARCA car on deck for tomorrow. I'm hoping to have finished painting in time for the race. And yeah, no, it's been a great start to the season, folks. 5 first-time winners. That's never been done before. And we'll see if that trend continues tomorrow night with the ARCA series. So hopefully y'all can tune in and catch the racing tomorrow. We do have Bridge to Cup and Cup closing out the week here. And then real-life NASCAR racing season starts. So we are in motorsports season. The drought is over. Racing action nonstop for those of you that are interested. So have a great night out there, everyone. Stay safe. And until next time, this is Jakester signing out.